Today we are going to do a day to night bridal look. Stay tuned, I hope you enjoy. So we are going to start by hydrating the skin. It's important to wear a moisturizer, especially one that you know won't cast a white shadow with a sunscreen in it. I know a lot of us are outside on our wedding day and don't want to get sunburnt, but sometimes the sunscreen in moisturizers can cast a white shadow in your pictures. So you want to make sure when you test out a moisturizer, maybe take a picture, see how it looks before your wedding day. So let's go in with the First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Moisturizer. And I'm going to actually mix that in with the Becca Backstage Highlight Primer. So this gives a nice glowy finish to the skin, which I personally like for a bride. You don't have to have that if you want to go matte. So this I'm mixing in with the moisturizer and will help prime the skin. Feels so good and cooling. And then we're gonna go in with the Verso Eye Cream. A little bit of that underneath the eye. If you are worried about your lips being dry, you can do an exfoliation maybe a day or two before. I don't like to put too much of a lip cream on my lips before I'm doing my makeup or doing a bride's makeup, because then when you go to put the lipstick on, unless you wipe it off, it can tend to make it bleed. So the day of my wedding, the day of your wedding, I like to just make sure the lips are good to go. So we're just gonna let them be for now. I'm gonna start with my eyes, so that way if I have any fallout from the color, I can clean it up without having to worry about it being all over my concealer and not putting in all that work. So let's start with the eye. I'm gonna use the Prolongwear NC25 concealer as a primer. You can use any kind of lid primer, but it's really important to start with something as a base so it will help the eyeshadow stay on and you won't have to worry about it creasing. You can use a beauty blender for this, you can use your finger, you can use a brush, and just very thinly apply a coat of this, even out your skin tone, set the tone for the makeup. A lot of bridal parties I have and brides worry about the makeup not lasting. If you prime your skin correctly and pick right products that are long wearing, you should have absolutely no problem on your wedding day. The only thing you might want to adjust is having a lip color to touch up, which I often give to my brides if they find a color when we do a trial that they like. So just adding a tiny bit more, making sure this is even all over my lid. And the warmth of your fingertips really help to set it in. You can also use a setting powder if you prefer. Okay, let's go in with the Naked 3 Urban Decay palette. I'm gonna start with the darkest shade here and using a stipple brush. So these brushes tend to pack on more color. So I'm just gonna lightly put that into that dark color and tap off the extra and start in the corner of my eye here, right on my lash line, and go up to my crease. So I'm gonna start with the day look, so we're just gonna go a little bit lighter so that we can add more later. So there's a tiny bit there, making sure it's even on both sides. And then going in with a medium tone color. This one's called Incomer here. It's important so that darker color was a little bit of a shimmer, so then I'm gonna mix it here with a matte color to give it some definition, and so that it doesn't all look like one big shimmer on my eye. So start here. I like to start with the darker color and then moving in with my medium tones to my lighter tones. I feel that it's kind of unnecessary to start with lighter colors and then add darker, because by that point the lighter colors kind of masked over from the darker color. So I kind of work backwards, but you can do it whichever way you prefer. And then with that fluffier brush, I'm just gonna blend these two together, starting with that outer color. Go up to my brow bone. I wear contacts, so sometimes this can get interesting. If I move my contacts around too much, it can get a little blurry, so just bear with me here. Blending that in small circular motions. Then you can even go back with that middle tone color, tap off the extra, and then blend out the edges of that dark tone, that first color that we used here, so that there's no harsh edges. Perfect. And then for the center of my eyes, I'm gonna wet a flat liquid brush with a setting spray. You can use water, anything you have. I'm gonna wet that so that it'll pick up the pigment of my shimmer color here. I'm gonna go in, I think this is called Thick, with this rose color, rosy gold, to make this really pop. Right here on the center of my lid. Going all the way up to the crease. And then the other eye. You can also use your fingers, that will pick up more pigment too, if you're looking for something a little bolder. Wet the brush, not the shadow, because if you wet your shadow directly, it could ruin the eyeshadow. So see, that gives it a real pop of color. So I'm gonna go back in my fingers, add a little bit more to even it out. Like so. And then we're gonna go in and do a highlight color. I'm gonna use my fingers here. I'm gonna go in with Dust and do a little bit of highlight. My skin is a little bit sunburnt right now, so I need to be careful with highlight colors. Sometimes with my deeper skin tone, they can look really white underneath, and it's not really the look we're going for. Okay, so now let's go in with this little cream eyeshadow. It's a highlight color. I'm gonna go in with the corners of my eyes to really brighten that up. And then go back in and just blend a little bit more with these colors. Make sure everything is even. Sometimes one eye is easier to blend than the other eye. So just to double check, if you want to take a quick picture, make sure that your eyes are evenly applied. Blending this. Going back and forth here. This one's a little bit darker, so it's really important to just blend. Take your time with it and just keep blending so there's no harsh lines. Okay. Now I'm gonna go in with a liquid eyeliner. This is by Ducce. It's just a black liquid liner. I'm gonna start with a more natural liner, and then when we do the nighttime bridal, I'll add a little wing. So this, I'm just doing small strokes against my lash line, keeping my eye open when I go to do the inner corners. Okay, that's that. Now we're gonna do lashes. I personally like the Ardell Wispies. Can't go wrong with these babies. So I'm just gonna pop those on. Sometimes these can be tricky if you're not used to doing lashes. I'm gonna just do the duo glue, lash glue, tiny bit on here. Lightly. You can let it dry a little bit first. I like to start in the center of my eye with these and then press down the sides with tweezers. The glue is white, but it will dry clear. So right on my lash line, pressing down, corner to corner. Like I said, this takes a little bit of practice, so don't worry if you don't get it the first time. Making sure they're pressed down. Give them an extra little push to make sure that stays on. You can also do individuals if you prefer. A lot of days people now have lash extensions, so you might not have to worry about putting on lashes. It's kind of nice to just wake up and have perfect lashes. Again, let this dry for a second so it gets tacky, and then center, and then press down the sides. Don't worry, like I said, if the glue looks white on your lid, that will dry clear and we can go back over it and touch it up, okay? Awesome. Now let's get to brows. I got this new $1 billion brow in taupe today from my Ipsy bag, so we're gonna try that out. I'm usually a pencil kind of gal. It also came with this little angle brush. So we're gonna go in here, if you can see, if I can see. Just go in from the bottom here, small short strokes. And then going back in and brushing this out again. They say eyebrows are sisters, not twins, so they don't have to be exactly the same. Okay, now let's get into the good stuff. We're gonna let those lashes dry. We'll go back in, add a little bit of liner. I'll smoke this out a little bit more to show you a nighttime bridal. But for now, let's get to the skin. I'm gonna do the Clinique Acne Solution Foundation. This is in, let's see, Fresh Sand number 6. Go in with a little bit of that in my foundation brush. I'm gonna start in the center of my face here. Really quickly. It's important to, if you want it to have a full coverage foundation for your wedding day, because of the HD cameras, you really want your skin to look flawless. So that little extra coverage will really go a long way. You can always thin it out with a moisturizer if you feel like it's too much coverage, but I would try a couple different types before your wedding day to see which one you like best. And I'm more so pressing this down than wiping because I'm trying to even out that foundation and really get all the coverage that I need. And then I'm gonna go in with my under eye concealer. I switched up today for you the creaseless concealer by Tarte. This is in Warm Sand. I'm just gonna do this underneath my eyes. I usually like the Shape Tape. This one is a little bit thicker, so it's sometimes can be harder to blend. And then just do a tiny bit to highlight. And then I'm gonna do the Prolongwear that we used for the eye primer as a little extra coverage on my scarring here. And then we're just gonna blend this all out. The warmth of your fingers, you can use a beauty blender. And then we'll warm this up with bronzer. So for your wedding day, if you are someone who tends to be a little bit more natural with makeup, I suggest, you know, going a few more steps into coverage and adding a little extra than you normally would because of the cameras and the wearability. You want it to last all day. So if you want to go natural, just remember with the photos, you kind of want to do a little bit extra to really give yourself that glamorous look, whether it's a natural glam or a full glam. It will look like half of what you have on in the camera. And then we're gonna go in with the Lovecraft Beauty as my contour. This darker color here. Right underneath my cheekbone here. A little bit on the forehead. A little bit under my chin. And then we're gonna blend that out. Back with the blender brush. And then I'm gonna go in with this pink MAC highlighter, but I'm gonna use it as a blush and a highlighter together. This is Seen to be Sheen. So we're gonna go in with an angled blush brush. I'm gonna mix the highlighters together and go up on my cheekbone all the way back to my hairline. You can't go wrong with blush or any color to your cheeks. The more the better, especially for your wedding day. You really want, you know, things to pop on your face, like your eyes, your cheeks, your lips, and really give you some dimension. You can add a little bit up here if you want, a little bit on your chin. Blending that again, make sure there's no lines from your contour and your under eye. You can go in with a tiny bit more if you want. Never have too much blush. Okay. So now that the lashes are dry, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna mix my, I like to do the mascara after the lashes are on to blend, I said mix, but to blend my lashes with the fake lashes. Some people put mascara on first. Again, waterproof you might want for this day. But I like to use regular mascara and then waterproof on top. And then we'll do some underneath. This is the Radical Glamolash Mascara XXL. So we're trying that out today. And then I'm gonna go in with that liquid again. The liquid liner. And I'm going to wing this out for you. And go over the lash line where the fake lashes are to kind of hide that and mask that. And then we're gonna add a little bit of eyeshadow underneath to give this more of a nighttime look. I'm gonna go back in with that dark shade that we used in the beginning. Tap off the extra. And then we'll go back in with that first stipple brush. Add some little depth here. Glam it out, buff it out. The more you bring it out, the wider your eye will look too. The more you extend this. Perfect. And then we'll just add a little bit more of the blush. Give it a pop for evening. Blending is key here. And then for nighttime lip, I'm gonna go in with the Naked lip pencil by Mercier, line my lips. Fill them in. This will really help the lipstick stay on, so whether you want to do like a natural color or a deeper color, you can use lip pencil to match your lipstick or go with a nude. And then we're gonna use, where did it go? The Balm lip stain in like a pinkish rose. I like to mix colors together too, but I always like to start with something that I know is going to be long wearing, especially for brides. Blend that together, and we'll top it off with a little bit of lip tease in Strawberry Whip by NYX. That's that, and then we're going to use the Tarte stain spray. Set it all in, and voila.